everyone and welcome back to Planet Coaster and to the Dark Ride Park once more. And last week we made this little bakery you can see right here. And today we're gonna make another building. What is a surprise, and this is going to be more of an actual shop. But I'm not sure if it's going to have a complete interior or just like an exterior with a shop facade. I don't know. But in the reference picture there's like this big thing I'm making here, basically with like a little sign on top of it that tells like what shop it is. So I might include that as well. But the first floor of this building is basically just lots of windows, since the building inside is quite tall, the first floor. So I might actually do that as well. Just the difficulty with making interiors with these types of buildings is that you use like a lot of objects that stick out in the back. So that's going to be a challenge when making an actual interior. But I do think it's kind of fun to have an interior somewhere, at least in the park. As well, of course, the dark ride itself with the queue is going to be an interior. But I mean more as a shop. We haven't really done that yet, and I think that could fit in well. Also, I'm probably not going to make the deadline of the contest already. I kind of took like a break, like 2 weeks. We did get a month extension, but I don't want to rush this. I'm really feeling good about this build, and if I start rushing things now, I'm gonna finish it, and I'm gonna wish I could have done this differently, and this and this and this. And contests are fun, and it's just you know how it is. Only doing contests is quite stressful, so I was like, yeah, let's just take my time, focus on other things as well. Otherwise, you start getting stressed and stuff, and yeah, it's just how it is sometimes. But anyway, the construction of this building is already going quite fast, as you can see. This is the tallest building we've built so far, I think, with 3 floors. This is the second floor here. Using the same kind of window structure and the shutters as we used before. And I don't know what it is about these colors, but I just really like them. Anton Pieck uses them a lot in his sketches and illustration, and I think it's just it accents or fits so good with the rest of the construction here. Anyway, you can see me making the facade of the roof right here, and it is pretty tall. It's also very much shifted, the whole facade to the front. You are next to a canal, so maybe that lowered the ground, the foundations, and that's the story behind it. But I just made it to look a bit more interesting and quirky and custom even. Because it's not like I don't like the visuals of the game, but the less you can see it's Planet Coaster, sometimes the better it looks. Not always, but yeah, sometimes that does make it more fun when you see a picture and this Planet Coaster. And I like when people say that because it's just all the custom stuff and effort people put into the workshop really starts paying off these days. Some people also say I find it less creative if people use a lot of Team TK items. And that's kind of stupid, because for me it's just like any other DLC item. It's just more to build with. And it might replace a custom vent you've built that took 200 pieces with one piece. But that's just how it is. And the only disadvantage of Team TK is longer autosaves. So when you have an autosave, the game stutters. Sometimes for me now, even for 5 seconds. And that's really the really annoying thing. Yes, loading times are a bit longer, but you only have to do that once per session, right? Not a big deal. But the end result, of all the Team TK items that I use, it's definitely justified. And also, there was 1 second, but you saw that bench there. I also made a couple of benches. I may have mentioned this before, but they look better than the in-game benches, and you can just place them around everywhere, not on pathing or stuff, and that just makes it so more versatile to build with. But sadly, people can't sit on them, but that's not a priority for me. I'm just looks first, the architecture, and then interactivity second. Especially with this sort of thing, if you're actually making something real, then that doesn't really work. You want to have an interactive experience, but sometimes you have to cut a bit of corners in Planko to get the thing you want. But yeah, that is that building complete nearly. And now we're building a little, like a keep or a fortress. I know we already built that fortress to the left here, but this is more like a newer structure. So less plaster and more like just brick. I would say this is probably like somewhere in like late 1800s, early 1900s that this was constructed. And maybe it's like a refurbished section of that old fortress that maybe got crumbling down, and they made this as a replacement. Yeah, a lot of brown brick, but I still wanted to look a bit interesting, so I made the colors of the brick a bit different here and there. And then on the roof is like a tiled roof, but not ceramic. It's like more of that that castle-y roof thing. I don't know what it is. And here I'm starting on the little tower, the bell tower. It's like a little bell tower on top of here in the sketch I saw. And this is based on a fortress in Enkhuizen. At least that's what the illustration said, that it was that village or town. And I'm using a lot of eye drawing beams here to make all these circles and semicircles. You know the deal by now. Little plaster here, and I just copy it around, and then I select those two things and start copying that around too until you have like all sides. Very easy. You only have to make one side and just copy it, and yeah, you're done. For the roof, same thing here. It's like a little, I almost say Austrian, like a bell roof. I don't know what the right word for it. Looks like one of those chocolate kisses or something. And yeah, you saw me here just copying around, and then copy it to the sides, and then I'm making the middle section here and do the same thing there. And that's really how easy it is to make stuff like this. It just takes a bit of time focusing on one side, and then yeah, just copy it. It starts getting tricky when something is not symmetrical and you have to do everything custom. I had to do that with the Fairytale house I did a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, that's just how it goes sometimes. I found that a nice clock there on the workshop. And it's much better than the in-game clock. It's also not too big. I thought, oh, that might be a nice fit on this tower. Because there isn't really a clock tower in this build yet. First, we have a little castle-y window thing here. With some red windows. We haven't used a lot of red so far. Oh, and this was a pain to make this little structure here on the roof. I did the outlines with hydro beams. I mean, the shape I saw it's kind of a hard shape to pull off if you don't have the right pieces. So the bracket is like a weird understructure. Like it's quite thick sometimes. So you need to be a bit creative with how you rotate them around, blah, blah, blah. But you can see I was messing around with it a bit. But then, yeah, you can just easily copy it to the other sides. And bada boom, bada bam. Even to the half of it there. And your roof is complete. Then I followed the same design philosophy for the rest of this wall. What I used for the roof there. And I suppose people can stand up there. Like maybe actors of the park. But of course behind it is just... like a warehouse or show building of the ride. So it's not actually protecting anything. It's still a theme park. Sometimes I need to keep reminding myself of that so I don't go overboard with all the big, heavy walls and stuff. But yeah, you can see how like precision work it was to build that roof here. And it looks a bit wonky, that one. But it's fine, it's fine. And I quickly had to make like a little wall on the side here, because often I just forget to do the other sides of buildings, especially with these builds. Because I focus on it looking good from one angle, and then I swish around the camera. It's like, oh yeah, I didn't do anything there. But that's all going to be fixed up and building the actual ride and the backstage areas like some point later. But yeah, of course I had to fix this up because people can still see this, the guests. So yeah, it doesn't take a lot of time, just a bit of dirt decals and it's already there. Then I thought, oh, might put a tree here. And like trees work well in these sort of builds to make a contrasting color between buildings. And it also increases how you see the depth of buildings. Because if there's like a tree sticking out between buildings, you can easily see that's a separate building, stuff like that. Then I just put some flowers here and there, a bit of colors, a bit of bushes. And that's basically it for that section. Pretty straightforward. Some vines on the wall. And here we start construction on the windows of the fortress. So they're a lot different than the other windows. They're a bit newer, a bit more straightforward, a bit more rectangular. instead of round, or like they're a bit more straight, bit more. Yeah, how do you say that? Like more craftsmanship or something. Yeah, so you can see me making little semicircles out of hydro beams to make it all custom. Yeah, it's just when you have a shape in mind and you want to get that. It takes a lot of pieces, and I think we're above the 30k piece count now. So it's gonna be a lot of pieces, but yeah, like I said in like an episode before, like 2 episodes before, I'm gonna make like a nice cinematic video that's gonna show you everything of the park nicely, a nice walkthrough with the on-ride. That's really gonna be the best experience to experience it, and then you can also download the park yourself. But it might be a bit laggy, especially on older systems. Here you can see me changing the tint of some of the bricks. And I think that really worked out well. It just adds a bit to the character of the build. Together with these brick decals as well. They're very subtle on this building. But like, if you compare the middle section down to the walls, you can clearly see different. Now, okay, we needed a door here. Because later I want to put like a shop in here. This is going to be the shop where you walk through after you're finished with the ride. So you really have the option to exit to the wall on the left of here, or continue walking and you end up in this shop. And I thought, oh, that's nice. You can like put a chandelier in there. It's quite big, so that's going to be nice for later. But yeah, of course we had to make a little door here, and it was a bit challenging. I didn't know quite what I wanted to do with like the cornerstones here, and I went with temple pieces. And up close they look a bit odd, but when you look at it from a distance, it starts making a bit more sense. Just a lot of these walls and windows here. Yeah, going all around with the beams, and then with the smaller beams later on, I think. Maybe not even. A lot of little work. Yeah, there we go again. Yeah, I mean, it's... how do you say it? We call that monk work, because it's very... They used to copy the books when the book press wasn't invented yet. That's kind of how it feels. And then using the bricks, hydro bricks, to make little custom shapes. And then there's a little spire in there. And I also, of course, need to put a window in there. I'm not sure if I forgot about that, I think. And the door. And the door is going to be gone later on, but just temporarily. I thought it looked nicer to have a door there. And then we put the windows around the wall as well there. Some brackets like we use normally. And then, yeah, you're basically already finished with this building. And even though there's not a lot on it, it still feels like it's detailed because of all the little aspects it has, like the brackets and a little shooting holes. And then here's also adjusting the tint. Some benches to sit down on. Oh yeah, now we're gonna work a bit on the canal, I think. I'm not sure how much work I'm gonna put into there, but we'll see. Some nice things we found on the other castle. And then some proper, we call them kantelen in Dutch. Probably isn't cantels in English. That would be like the basic translation. I don't know what they're called, but you know, where people can shoot through and stuff. Alright, here I'm making another entrance to the canal. Not sure what to put in this part of the canal yet. I was thinking maybe like a little schooner, like a little ship, with like a sail. That looks very vintage or whatever. I found these posts on the workshop as well. Have a bit more detail to them, and are a bit more intricate in the 3D things they have on them. It's like, oh yeah, I can use that, and then you get more like a little ship there, some ropes, to basic detailing. I'm still thinking of what would fit here best, but it usually comes down to ropes and chains and that sort of stuff. Some pigeons, of course, not to be missed. Some people hate them. I love them. They just add a bit of character to the build. And what's even going to add more character to this build is like area music and some animatronics, moving stuff. I'm not sure. And some effects. I really want to go all out with this creation. I want this to be the best thing I've done so far. And so far I'm really digging it. I hope you're digging it too. Yeah, let me know what you think of this episode and the build so far. What would you like to see in the park? I'm trying to take suggestions and what I think will fit well. I'm trying to implement that. So yeah, thanks for watching once again. If you want to see the next episode early, consider becoming a member. If you like the content, subscribe. Give the video a like as well. And yeah, I hope to see you guys in the next episode next week. Bye!